Erik, you belong with Full Night MMA, joined today by UFC welterweight Stephen Thompson. Stephen, how are you?
Doing great, man. Glad to be back on with you, Erik.
Of course, it's great to have you back on. We were just talking a little bit about your time on Cobra Kai. I know. I think a couple times ago you were telling me that you were filming it, but it was very early stages. But now that the season's been released, all the MMA fans got to see you on the show. What's the reaction been like so far?
It's been actually really cool. I mean, I was supposed to have like a main part as one of the main bad guys, but the filming that they had me do for the main, as one of the main fight scenes was during the fight with Bilal. So it was during that fight week. So I wasn't able to make it. So they were like, "Hey, we'll keep you in there as like a little cameo, but we'll see if we can get you back for season 6 as a bigger character." So I'm like, "All right." So I was down, but it was a lot of fun, man. Hang out with Tyron and those guys with Cobra Kai, and of course, I grew up watching Karate Kid, and that was a huge part of my childhood. So it was cool to see those guys in person and how much they're big MMA fans. So it was really cool to be able to chat with those guys.
I was going to say that's got to be the dream. I mean, growing up watching the Karate Kids, obviously karate is a massive part of your life. I mean, it's your main style. I mean, it kind of all comes full circle, doesn't it?
Yeah, man, it really does. And it's funny because Cobra Kai has kind of helped us out here at the school because I remember in the 80s, everybody wanted to do karate because of Karate Kid. And now everybody wants to do karate because of Cobra Kai. So it's actually really, really it's kind of helped us out and brings back memories when I was a kid.
Has that actually, like, you've seen like a big difference? Like people are actually starting to take more karate again just because of this TV show.
Yeah, I literally have had people and even parents start up because they love the show. I want to do karate. So I had several parents and kids come to us because of the show. So thanks, Cobra Kai.
What was it like being back on set with Tyron Woodley? I know you guys have a bit of a buddy relationship now after your two fights.
It was great, man. It was great to be able to see him, hang out with him, especially without, all the hype around a fight. He's really cool, man. Fun to hang out with. Very knowledgeable when it comes to the game, in business. So we got to chat a little bit about that, which was really fun. But just hanging out with those guys was awesome. And the stuntmen, those guys are cool, man. And true martial artists. Most of the stuntmen on the show were MMA guys and have trained MMA, some kind of full contact sport. So it was cool to kind of pick their brains too, and for them to pick mine.
I know you and Tyron have talked obviously quite a bit. I saw the Instagram live that you guys did last year. Was this the first time that you guys were like together in person since you guys have fought though?
Uh, I think so, actually. Since 2015, I think it has been the first time that we've kind of been in the same room. Well, no, I take that back. I think we were on as a guest fighter in one of the shows about a year ago, or 2 years ago. We were in Vegas. It might have been during International Fight Week. Yeah, I think so. Because me, Chris, Tyron, we all had a dance competition. I won, but just saying.
Of course. Well, getting away from your past fights, I want to ask what's going on with you actually fighting now, because we've been hearing rumors about you fighting Shavkat Rakhmonov. Of course, you said that's not true. You want to fight Michel Pereira, Kevin Holland. I mean, what's going on here? What are all these rumors that we're hearing?
At this point, they wanted me to fight Shavkat, and I'm like, look, my last two guys have been grapplers. I want a striker. Give me somebody that the fans will love to watch me fight, because the last two, the fans didn't like it. There was a lot of boos going on during that fight, both of those fights. So, and I know the UFC didn't like it. I know the UFC wants to use me to put on a show. So I didn't want Shavkat. I wanted somebody that's going to go out there, stand up and strike. If it's Michel Pereira or Kevin Holland, we're not sure yet. Kind of maybe leaning towards Kevin Holland. I know he's talking about retiring. He posted something up here recently, but I don't think that's true. So hopefully we'll hear something here pretty soon. Looking to fight in either November or December. So it's just kind of up in the air and kind of keeping my fingers crossed at this point.
Why were they trying to match you up with Shavkat Rakhmonov?
I don't know. I guess because he's an upcoming guy, and to be honest, I really don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. I mean, the last guy that he fought was Neil Magny. and he had 9 minutes of control time during the entire time, and that was against another grappler. So, you know, the UFC is in business to put on it's an entertainment industry, and if they want entertainment, especially when it comes to somebody like myself, give them another striker. That's what people want to see.
Yeah.
So I told them no, give me a striker, and we're kind of waiting in the wind right now.
Is this kind of the first time that you're, saying no to fights? Because I mean, you were fighting like a murderer's row of like these contenders when you fought Luque, and then you fought Jeff Neal, and then Gilbert, and then Bilal. Like you weren't saying no to anybody for a long time. Is this kind of the first time that you're putting your foot down a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, I did with I didn't really put my foot down because it ended up happening, and I should have put my foot down with Darren Till, because at that time he was ranked. I don't even think he was ranked, maybe number 9 or number 10. I was ranked number 1, and they wanted me to fight him in his hometown. And I was like, no, it's not going to happen, blah, blah, blah. But then we ended up doing it, and I should have said no because I thought I'd won that fight. But anyway, but yeah, man, I did. I fought Jeff Neal, Vicente Luque, of course, Gilbert Burns, and then Bilal, who's just a monster grappler as well. So I'm like, yeah, this is the first time really that I've kind of like, nah, it's not happening. They did ask me when, I think after one of, Khamzat's 1 or 2 fights he had in the UFC. And I'm like, no, I don't even know who this guy is. I'm not fighting this guy. I think I turned him down earlier on whenever he was, had like 2 fights in the UFC. So they were pushing him pretty hard. So I'm not really sure what he's doing. I don't know if he's going to 185 or wants to fight Colby. That's what I'm seeing. I think I saw him tweet out 185 punch and a PAL sign, but I don't know what he's doing.
I was gonna say, I mean, after missing weight in his last 2, I feel like at a certain point, like they got to make him move up, right?
Right? Exactly. They should. I mean, 7.5 pounds. That's ridiculous. Like, come on, man. You know, you're out there supposed to be a professional and talking all this crap, but can't even make weight. Can't do the one thing you had signed that contract to do, and that's make weight. So I can see how that's disappointing, because Darren Till did the same thing to me when I fought. He was like 4.5 pounds over or whatever, and had an hour to get it off, and comes back even heavier. And I'm like, man, come on. So I understand where Nate's coming from and those guys are coming from. But man, Kevin Holland stepped up though. He stepped up to take it. So good for him.
Kevin Holland kind of got the short end of that stick.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I hope he got a pretty big payday for that. You know, some renegotiating or something to go up and fight him. So to make it worth it. But yeah, that's kind of who I'm looking at right now is Kevin.
Yeah. Well, you said you didn't buy his retirement talks. Do you know more than we do?
No. I just feel like, you know, maybe he's trying to get some, maybe the UFC to kind of do something, or the fans, just kind of hype the fans up around it a little bit. And then him could like, no, I'm just kidding. I don't know. He just doesn't seem that type of guy to retire this early in his career, because he's still young. He's very young. And, but he does seem the type of guy to kind of mess with people. So I figure it's like a coup, just like a joke, you know.
What's you're 39 years old now. I'm not going to talk about retirement or anything, because you want to keep fighting, and I know that. But like, what stage of your career are you in, do you think? Like, is the title still the #1 goal? Do you kind of just want to pursue these fun fights with guys like Kevin Holland, with guys like Michel Pereira, that you think would, kind of add to your legacy and your highlight reel? Like, where are you?
Yeah, man. I mean, I always want to get the title. Like, that's always #1. But it is kind of fun to have, especially at this, where I'm at in my career, to have some of these fun fights, and not just anybody or somebody that's people think that are washed up, but these guys are still working their way up to fight for the title. Pereira is working his way up. Kevin Holland just moved from 185. He was on a crazy streak there, and he moved to 170. He's doing work in the 170 division. So, I mean, the title's always there, man. That's what I always see in my head is the title. But it's fun to get these fun fights from time to time. My last 2 fights have been grapplers, and it gives me time to still work on that grappling skills. I came in the MMA game fairly late in my kickboxing or full contact career, and still learning stuff every day. Like I got 2 guys in this week My man Joe's one of the top grapplers in the country, and you know, a Penn State wrestler, Gino, who's moving to MMA as well. So wrestled with Bo Nickal and those guys. So he's there. These guys are definitely helping me out. I'm going to be going up to see Chris Weidman here in a bit, who only lives about an hour and a half away from me. Going to get some work in with him. He's looking good. He's healing up. So just trying to catch up on that. You know, a lot of these guys have started out wrestling. I mean, since they were 3, kind of like myself with karate. So I've got to play that catch-up game and do the best I can where I'm at.
How about Nickal, huh? You see that on Tuesday?
Oh, goodness, awesome. The guy's a beast, dude. Holy cow. Teach this guy some striking skills, and he's not even wrestling. I mean, he does wrestle, but he knocks him down. He's putting people out and then submitting them. So he's awesome. And then he calls out Khamzat.
He's submitting people off his back.
I know. I'm like, oh my God, triangling dudes. Let's go. I thought I'd never see Bo Nickal on his back ever. You know, most of your life you don't want to be on your back, and this dude's hitting triangles. It's like this dude's crushing it right now. So I'm happy for the guy.
He's an American Khamzat, it looks like right now.
Yeah, I know, man. He even called him out. I think he called out Khamzat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd love to see it. But back to you again. You're ranked number 7. Realistically, you only need a couple more wins to be back in the title picture. Like, do you see a path back to the title, and what does that look like for you right now?
I do, man. I mean, at any point, those guys in the top 10, 1, 2 more fights, and you're there. You know, so with that said, staying focused on, you know, what brought me to the UFC, which is my striking, but also really focusing on bringing these specialists in to help me with my ground game, wrestling game, to prepare for those guys. Because at this point, everybody knows that I can strike, right? But to be able to hit that top tier, you have to be good everywhere, and you have to be seen doing it, right? You got to make these guys threaten. So right now, every time I step out there, they know that I want to stand there and strike. So to be able to use my wrestling and jiu-jitsu a little bit more in there, I think will help me get to the top.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the division is more open now than it's been in a while, with all the wild stuff happening. I mean, with Leon Edwards head kicking Kamaru Usman, I would assume that they're going to rematch, but even so, who knows how that fight goes? I mean, you know, what did you make of that when you saw that? I mean, it kind of shook up the entire division that's been a little bit stagnant for a while.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was wild because he was losing the fight. Well, he won the first round, ended up taking somebody who's never been taken down, which was a feat in its own. Not only that, but knocking out the champ, right? He was losing up until he won the fight. But what that shows is that Leon Edwards is still dangerous, even when he's, you know, brought into deep water. You know, that was last round.
Mm-hmm.
And he still had the energy to be able to get up. Usman couldn't hold him down. He kept getting back up, kept his distance, and landed that beautiful head kick, which was just awesome. I mean, it shook, like you said, it shook up the welterweight division, shook up the whole UFC with that knockout. And I think that's awesome. I was like, good for him. They have to rematch, though. I mean, Usman, he's held the title and been the pound for pound guy for forever. So you gotta have that rematch.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you think it goes?
Man, kind of the same. I feel like Leon will have to do what he did his last fight in order to win. Because I know Usman, he's going to get better. He doesn't like to lose. He's going to have a fire in him to get that title back. So I think we're going to see a better of both. So I think it's going to have to go that way. Leon is going to have to keep standing up, keep defending the takedown. Maybe a little more him initiating the takedown to kind of throw Usman off a little bit to be able to land those head kicks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's a fight that I've always wanted to see. I've always wanted to see you fight Leon. So with a couple more fights, maybe we'll see that happen.
Be there. Yes, we could be there.
Do you know how many fights are left on your UFC contract right now?
I just signed a new contract, I think, before my last fight. Okay. And it was a 6-fight contract. So I think we have 5 more fights.
Oh, wow. Okay. I was going to ask, I know I talked to a lot of fighters that are talking about testing free agency. That's, you know, with 5 fights left, that's not something that you seem interested in. You want to end your career with the UFC.
Yeah, I want to end my career with, you know, the best promotion in the world, which is the UFC. PFL is awesome, but you see a lot of these guys, they leave the UFC and they go to these other promotions and they just don't do too well. I don't know if it's because they know in their head that it's not the elite, it's not the top, or maybe they don't put as much effort into their preparation as they would if they were in the UFC. But yeah, man, the only person I see really doing well right now who is left, I mean, Yoel Romero has been crushing it over there at Bellator. And he went up to what, 205? He's massive. He's what, 45 years old or something like that, or so we think? Just a massive 145er. It's ridiculous. I mean, 145, 205, just shredded.
And Demetrius,
I want to be like that at his age.
Yeah, he's doing great. Demetrius Johnson in 1.
Yes, that's right.
Well,
Demetrius is crushing it as well in 1. Yeah, but you know, Anthony Pettis, I think Rory McDonald retired. So those are the kind of the ones that kind of popped in my head, wasn't that I thought we would do a lot better at the PFL, but anyway, yeah, man, I see myself retiring with the UFC.
Well, I guess to wrap things up here, what are you predicting? Like, if everything went your way, is it Kevin Holland in December, Michel Pereira in November? Like, what do you want by the end of this year?
I would love for the Kevin Holland fight, maybe in December. I think that would be great. So I know he's in an interesting matchup because he's tall. He's got an 80-inch reach. He's got great striking, good jiu-jitsu. So he'd be a puzzle for sure, just because how long he is with his reach. I think that would be a fun fight.
Absolutely. I know. I'd love to see it. Stephen, always appreciate having you on. Before I let you go, I wanted to give you the floor. Anything you wanted to shout out? You're at 422,000 subscribers on YouTube, so congratulations. I'll let you plug that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, man. Check out the Stephen Wonderboy Thompson YouTube channel. Me and Sweet Tea have a great time on that, so go check that out. Subscribe to that. On Instagram and Twitter at Wonderboy MMA. So hit a guy with a follow. I appreciate you, Erik, for having me on, my friend.
Always. We'll link all that in the description. Stephen, it's great catching up. Hey everyone, thanks for watching this video. If you like our content, be sure to subscribe to Full Man MMA. And while you're at it, make sure to hit the bell icon as well so you never miss an update from us.